You are about to unlock the ancient secret known only to sages and mystics, how your breath can control and reshape reality. This is not just breathing, it is creation in motion. Your breath shapes the universe. Use it and become who you were always meant to be. Breath controls reality. Introduction. Your breath is the silent bridge between the unseen and the seen, a sacred thread woven between spirit and matter. With every inhale, you draw into your being the living essence of creation. With every exhale, you cast your will into the quantum tapestry where all things are possible. This is no mere act of survival. It is a ritual as old as time, hidden in plain sight, passed down by those who guarded its power in secret. To breathe with intention is to speak the language of the cosmos, to sculpt reality not with effort but with presence. The universe listens not with ears but with rhythm, and your breath is its sacred song. In the stillness between inhalation and exhalation lies a doorway, a shimmering veil behind which infinite possibilities await. Here, in this pause, thought becomes form, desire becomes destiny, and your soul remembers its power. But this path is not for the faint-hearted. For once you awaken to the breath's divine intelligence, you cannot return to the slumber of unconscious living. Your awareness will stretch beyond the veil of ordinary life. Your energy will shift, rising into frequencies where fear dissolves and limitation vanishes. You will no longer be who you were. You will be who you truly are, a creator in communion with the source. The breath you take now holds the power to bend timelines, shift outcomes, and rewrite your future. As you breathe in, you summon divine wisdom. As you breathe out, you release the illusions that once held you captive. Each breath becomes a prayer, a spell, a holy act of creation. And this is not about breathing, this is about remembering. Through conscious breath, you awaken the power that spins galaxies, and you step boldly into a life shaped by design, not default. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. Part 1. Discovering Your Hidden Superpower. Chapter 1. The Forbidden Gateway. In the days of old, a traveler named Ezra wandered the ancient lands, his feet blistered and his spirit weary. His pockets held nothing but dust, yet his heart yearned for something greater than gold. Upon reaching a forgotten temple high in the mountains, he discovered an ornate door covered in strange symbols that seemed to pulse with inner light. For days he studied the markings until he realized they depicted a specific pattern of breathing. As he matched his breath to the ancient rhythm, the massive door swung open effortlessly, revealing a chamber that transformed his existence. In that sacred space, his rags turned to royal robes, his weariness to wisdom, and his poverty to prosperity. Through breath alone, he ascended from wanderer to king. Your breath holds this same transformative power. The air flowing through you carries the creative force that shapes worlds. This knowledge has been carefully guarded throughout history, passed down only to those deemed ready for its enormous responsibility. Those who maintain the structures of ordinary reality have long feared what would happen if humanity discovered that each breath could alter the very fabric of existence. When you breathe unconsciously, you speak to the universe in whispers. But when you breathe with intention, you command reality with the authority of creation itself. Every inhalation draws in infinite potential. Every exhalation manifests your desires into form. In another time, there lived a servant girl named Clara, who scrubbed floors in a great house, believing herself destined for nothing more. One evening, an elderly woman found her crying in the garden, and taught her a sacred breathing pattern. "Your breath," the wise one said, "is the key to your prison." Clara practiced in secret, and with each conscious breath, her circumstances began to shift. Her thoughts grew clearer, her presence stronger, until she attracted opportunities that elevated her beyond all expectations. She rose to become the most influential woman in the land, but her true power came from understanding that her previous unconscious breathing had been the only chain holding her in servitude. Like Clara, you have been breathing yourself into limitation. Each unconscious breath reinforces the boundaries of your current reality. Yet within you lies the same power that transformed both Ezra and Clara, the ability to breathe new realities into existence. Begin now with the gateway breath. Find a quiet space and sit comfortably. Inhale deeply for 4 counts. Hold your breath for 4 counts. Exhale for 4 counts. And hold empty for 4 counts. As you practice this rhythm, focus on one desire you wish to manifest. Feel the energy field around you begin to shift as you establish direct communication with the creative forces of the universe. This simple pattern opens the doorway between ordinary reality and extraordinary possibility. Chapter 2. The Universe's Secret Heartbeat. In the heart of an ancient village, Samuel the blacksmith discovered a truth that would forever alter his understanding of creation. Each day, as his hammer struck hot metal, he noticed a peculiar rhythm emerging, not just in his work but in the very air around him. One morning, as the dawn's first light filtered through his workshop, he began matching his breath to the rhythm of his hammer strikes. To his amazement, the metal beneath his hands became as pliable as morning clay, yielding to his touch with supernatural ease. The harder metals that once resisted his strongest blows now flowed like water, taking whatever shape he envisioned. This secret Samuel stumbled upon reveals a fundamental truth about the nature of existence. The universe itself breathes, expanding and contracting in grand cosmic cycles. From the pulsing of distant stars to the changing of seasons, from the tides of oceans to the birth and death of galaxies, all of creation moves in a divine rhythm. When you align your breath with this cosmic dance, you step into your role as a conscious co-creator with the forces that shaped existence itself. Your breath becomes a bridge between your individual consciousness and the vast intelligence that orchestrates the cosmic dance. Each inhalation draws you into harmony with the expanding universe. Each exhalation aligns you with its natural contraction. This is not merely metaphor. It is the practical mechanism through which you may shape reality itself. In the valleys of an ancient land, a farmer's daughter named Margaret unlocked this same wisdom. While others fought against nature's cycles, Margaret observed how the earth itself seemed to breathe, expanding in spring, contracting in winter. She began to breathe in rhythm with the seasons themselves. As she worked her fields, she inhaled with the warming of spring and exhaled with autumn's cooling breath. Soon, her crops flourished when others withered, growing abundant even in the harshest conditions. Her animals remained healthy through bitter winters, and her family prospered, even as others struggled through years of drought. Margaret's secret was simple yet powerful. She ceased struggling against the natural flow of creation, and instead learned to move with it. By breathing in harmony with universal rhythms, she aligned herself with forces far greater than individual will or effort. Now, experience this alignment through the cosmic synchronization breath. Find a quiet space and place your hand over your heart. Feel its steady rhythm. Begin breathing in time with your heartbeat, inhaling for 4 beats, exhaling for 4 beats. As you breathe, Visualize your desires carried to you on this cosmic tide. Notice the difference between forcing manifestation and allowing it to arrive naturally, like leaves carried on an autumn wind. This is the rhythm of creation itself, and you are now part of its eternal dance. Chapter 3. Why Ancient Masters Were Feared. In a remote monastery among mist-shrouded peaks, Theodore discovered the sacred art of divine breathing. Through years of solitary practice, he learned to synchronize his breath with the cosmic forces that shaped existence. As his mastery grew, so did his abilities. Storms would calm at his command, the dying would rise from their beds renewed, and golden light would materialize from the air itself, condensing into precious metal before astonished witnesses. Yet with each miracle, Theodore noticed growing fear in the eyes of those who watched. While some revered him as a saint, others whispered of sorcery and danger. The local authorities began to question his powers, and Theodore realized that humanity wasn't ready for such knowledge. He retreated deeper into his monastery, sharing his wisdom only with those whose hearts were pure enough to handle its power. The truth you now uncover has been guarded through ages. Conscious breathing is the bridge between mortal limitation and divine capability. Every great civilization has whispered tales of breathing masters who wielded godlike powers. The Egyptian mystery schools, Tibetan monasteries, and ancient Greek temples all preserve fragments of this knowledge. Yet time and again this wisdom was suppressed by those who maintained power through human limitation. In a bustling city, Victoria discovered these same breathing secrets through an ancient manuscript. She learned to channel universal life force through her breath, restoring sight to those born blind and returning youth to aging bodies. But her abilities threatened the established order. Doctors lost patients, merchants lost customers, and rulers feared the power she might unleash in the common people. Victoria was forced to work in shadows, healing only those who found their way to her hidden sanctuary. Like Theodore and Victoria, you now hold knowledge that has been systematically concealed because it threatens the very foundation of controlled society. When you master conscious breathing, you no longer require external permission to reshape your reality. This makes you dangerous to systems built upon human powerlessness. To protect this wisdom while wielding its power, practice the master's concealment breath. Sitting naturally in any public space, breathing slowly and intentionally. With each inhale, silently draw in the energy of your intention. With each exhale, invisibly direct this power toward your desired manifestation. Let your breath move like a gentle stream, powerful yet unnoticed. This allows you to build and direct manifestation energy without attracting unwanted attention from those still bound by ordinary consciousness. Chapter 4. The Invisible Force That Runs Everything. In a bustling marketplace of old, Benjamin stood in his empty shop, watching potential customers pass by without a glance. His shelves gathered dust, and his coins dwindled until one morning, exhausted and desperate, he slumped against a wall and noticed something extraordinary. As he caught his breath, he felt not just air, but a tingling energy entering his body. With each inhalation, this force seemed to connect him to everything around him: the wooden shelves, the metal coins, even the distant mountains. Following this sensation, Benjamin began breathing with conscious awareness, directing this energy through his body and into his shop. Within days, gold coins materialized in his money box, and merchants from lands he'd never heard of arrived at his door, drawn by an inexplicable force. What Benjamin discovered, you are now learning. Your breath carries pure life force energy, known across cultures as prana, chi, or spirit. This vital force is not merely sustaining your physical body, it is your direct connection to the infinite field of pure potential that exists beyond the material world. Every breath you take is an exchange with the source of all creation, a bridge between your consciousness and the unlimited power that shapes reality itself. In a small village, Eleanor sat at her loom, her fingers moving swiftly through colored threads. She had always been a skilled weaver, but everything changed when she noticed that the same energy flowing through her breath also pulsed through her threads. As she learned to breathe consciously while weaving, something magical began to happen. Her fabrics took on extraordinary properties, shawls that cured fevers, tapestries that lifted depression, garments that brought prosperity to their wearers. People said her works were blessed, but Eleanor knew the truth. She had simply learned to direct the universal life force through her breath and into her creations. Eleanor's realization mirrors your own unfolding understanding. The energy flowing through your breath is identical to the force that ignites stars, unfolds flower petals, and manifests all creation. When you consciously direct this power through your breathing, you access the very essence of creative force itself. To begin wielding this power, practice the life force activation breath. Sit quietly and visualize golden light entering your body with each inhalation. Feel this radiant energy filling your cells, then expanding outward with each exhalation to touch everything you wish to manifest. Let this golden force flow through you for 7 breaths, sensing its tangible power as it begins reshaping your reality according to your desires. Chapter 5. The First Dangerous Pattern. In the rolling hills beyond the ancient kingdoms, Augustus tended his flock with gentle patience. One autumn morning, as storm clouds gathered and his sheep grew restless, he found himself breathing in an unusual rhythm. 7 counts in, a brief pause, 7 counts out, another pause. As this pattern deepened, something extraordinary occurred. His agitated flock grew instantly calm, and a pack of wolves that had been stalking the herd stopped in their tracks, turned, and peacefully departed. Word of Augustus's power spread, and soon armies would halt their advance when he appeared on battlefields, weapons dropping from suddenly peaceful hands. Yet when he attempted to share this gift with others, he witnessed its shadow side. Some who learned the breathing pattern used it while harboring thoughts of revenge, manifesting devastating consequences. Others, gripped by fear during their practice, unknowingly breathed their worst nightmares into being. This brings us to the essential truth. Breath is the bridge between thought and manifestation, between the realm of possibility and physical reality. The 7-1-7-1 pattern creates an immediate shift in your vibrational frequency, elevating you from one who experiences reality to one who creates it. This shift occurs because this specific rhythm aligns your nervous system with the exact frequency at which thought transforms into matter. In a bustling port city, Cordelia, whose father's tavern teetered on the edge of ruin, learned this pattern from a traveling mystic. Her initial attempts brought mixed results. When she practiced while worried about mounting debts, creditors appeared at the door. When she breathed through her fears of failure, customers vanished. But once she mastered maintaining positive focus during her breathing, everything transformed. The tavern's reputation soared, drawing nobility and merchants from distant lands, until it became the most celebrated establishment in 3 kingdoms. Cordelia's journey mirrors the path before you. The power of the 7-1-7-1 breath pattern lies not in the rhythm itself, but in its ability to amplify and manifest whatever occupies your mind during its practice. This is why masters called it dangerous knowledge, not because it causes harm, but because it grants such immediate creative power that every passing thought becomes a seed of manifestation. To begin working with this power safely, find a quiet space and practice the foundation power breath. Inhale for 7 counts, hold for 1, exhale for 7 counts, hold for 1. During this practice, focus exclusively on gratitude for what you already have and positive visions of what you wish to create. Feel the surge of creative energy with each cycle, maintaining conscious awareness of your thoughts and emotions throughout. Start with 3 cycles and gradually increase as you master maintaining positive focus. Chapter 6. From Victim to Creator in One Breath. Florence stood in her empty kitchen, 3 hungry children looking up at her with expectant eyes. Her husband's sudden passing had left them with nothing but debts and despair. Each shallow, anxious breath she took seemed to tighten the grip of poverty around her throat. Then one night, as she lay sleepless on her thin mattress, she noticed how her rapid, fearful breathing matched her racing thoughts of lack and limitation. In that moment of awareness, she deliberately slowed her breath, filling her lungs with purpose instead of panic. As her breathing shifted, so did her perspective, and within days, opportunities began appearing from unexpected sources. Your breath patterns have been programming your reality since the day you were born. Each unconscious breath drawn in fear, doubt, or helplessness reinforces your position as a victim of circumstances. This unconscious breathing keeps you trapped in a reactive state, where life happens to you and your only role is to respond to whatever appears before you. But there exists another way of breathing, one that awakens the dormant creator within you. When you breathe consciously with clear intention, you step out of the passenger seat of life and take your rightful place at the helm of creation. Each conscious breath becomes a command to the universe, an assertion of your creative authority over reality itself. Nathaniel's workshop was filled with half-finished inventions and crushed dreams. For years he breathed in disappointment and exhaled frustration, watching his ideas fail one after another. His breakthrough came when an old craftsman taught him to breathe with purpose while working. Instead of unconsciously breathing his doubts into his creations, he began consciously breathing his vision into them. His next invention revolutionized farming techniques across 3 continents. The truth stands revealed. Your unconscious breathing has been keeping you locked in a prison of powerlessness. Like Florence and Nathaniel, you've been unknowingly breathing life into your limitations rather than your possibilities. But this realization marks the end of your unconscious creation and the beginning of your conscious command over reality. Practice the Creator's activation breath. Find a quiet space and sit with your spine straight. As you breathe deeply and slowly, repeat with each breath, "I am the creator of my reality." Visualize yourself as a powerful architect of existence, shaping circumstances with each conscious breath. Feel the shift from powerless to powerful as your breathing aligns with your creative authority. Continue this practice until you sense the unmistakable transformation in your energy from victim to creator. Chapter 7. Speaking the Universe's Native Language. Long ago, in a bustling port city, lived a merchant named Archibald whose ship seemed cursed by misfortune. Storms scattered his fleet, winds refused his sails, and his wealth dwindled with each failed voyage. One night, as he watched the harbor waves, an ancient mariner approached and whispered, "You speak to the sea with your words, but she only understands the language of breath." The old man taught Archibald to breathe in specific rhythms, patterns that match the ocean's own pulse. From that day forward, Archibald's fortunes transformed dramatically. His ships found favorable winds where others found calm, Storms parted before his vessels like curtains, and gold flowed to him as naturally as rivers run to the sea. Your breath is the primal language of creation itself. Each inhalation forms a question or request to the infinite intelligence that orchestrates reality. Every exhalation delivers a command or release into the fabric of existence. In the sacred pauses between breaths, the universe processes your communication and begins its mysterious work of rearranging circumstances to match your intentions. You have been speaking this language your entire life, but like a child babbling randomly, your unconscious breathing has sent confused messages to the cosmic forces that shape reality. Now, you stand ready to master this divine dialogue. In a small village lived Beatrice, whose father's bakery struggled until she learned the secret of breathing consciousness into bread. She discovered that while kneading dough, her breath could carry more than air. It could transmit pure intention. She began breathing love, joy, and abundance into every loaf she created. Soon, people spoke of her bread's mysterious properties, how it could mend broken spirits, inspire grand dreams, and fill empty hearts along with empty stomachs. Her secret lay not in her ingredients, but in understanding breath as the bridge between spirit and matter. Like Beatrice, you now grasp that your breath connects your inner world of thoughts and desires with the outer world of physical manifestation. When you breathe consciously, you speak directly to the creative force that shapes all reality, using its native tongue. Universal Communication Breath Practice. Sit in stillness and choose one clear desire. As you inhale deeply, silently say, "Please bring this to me." Hold your breath gently while affirming, "I trust your wisdom." Then exhale completely while declaring with certainty, "It is done." Feel each breath as a direct conversation with the infinite intelligence that orchestrates all creation. Practice this breath pattern until you sense the subtle shift that indicates the universe has received your message. Chapter 8: Breaking Free from the Sleep of Ordinary. In the heart of an industrial town, Clarence trudged each day through iron gates that seemed to cage not just his body, but his very spirit. His shoulders slumped with the weight of accepted limitations, his breath shallow and mechanical like the machines he tended. But one fateful morning, as steam hissed and gears ground around him, he noticed something extraordinary. His breathing had fallen into perfect rhythm with the factory's oppressive drone. This simple observation cracked open a door in his mind, revealing a startling truth. His unconscious breathing had been hypnotizing him into acceptance of a life far smaller than his soul's true destiny. The moment Clarence began breathing with intention, the factory walls seemed to dissolve, revealing vast horizons of possibility he had never before perceived. Within months, his conscious breathing transformed not just his inner world but his outer circumstances, leading him from the factory floor to founding his own company, built on innovations that had always existed in his mind, but remained locked away by the trance of unconscious breathing. Your ordinary breathing patterns are not neutral. They actively maintain the hypnotic spell that keeps you bound within the prison of limited consciousness. Each unconscious breath reinforces the illusion that you must accept whatever reality presents itself to you. Yet this trance state, though powerful, dissolves instantly in the light of conscious breathing. In a small cottage at the edge of town lived Millicent, whose needle and thread once earned her mere pennies for endless hours of toil. Her unconscious breathing matched the dull rhythm of poverty consciousness until an old wise woman taught her the sacred art of conscious breathing. As Millicent learned to breathe with intention while she worked, her fingers began moving with divine inspiration. Soon her garments carried an otherworldly beauty that caught the eye of merchants who supplied the royal court. Queens who once would never have known her name now waited months for her creations, paying in gold what she once earned in copper. Like Clarence and Millicent, you have been breathing yourself into a slumber of limitation, accepting boundaries that exist only in the hypnotized mind. Yet with each conscious breath, you can awaken to the extraordinary reality that has always existed beyond the veil of ordinary awareness. Practice the liberation breath. Sit quietly and observe your natural breath. Now, with each inhale, visualize golden light dissolving chains of limitation around your body, mind, and spirit. With each exhale, see doors of infinite possibility opening in every direction. Feel the exhilarating sensation of breaking free from ordinary consciousness. Maintain this breathing pattern for 7 minutes, allowing yourself to experience the profound shift from the trance of limitation to the awakened state of infinite potential. Chapter 9: The Mirror That Never Lies. In a valley untouched by time stood a pond so still it mirrored not just faces, but souls. Here, Evangeline discovered that when she matched her breath to the pond's serene surface, the waters would ripple with visions of her inner truth. Each conscious breath revealed layers of her being, hopes that bloomed like water lilies, fears that lurked like shadows beneath the surface, beliefs that floated like leaves catching light. As she practiced this sacred communion, Evangeline witnessed how her thoughts and emotions painted her reality with precise artistry. The days she breathed anxiety created ripples of chaos in her life, while breaths of confidence brought opportunities flowing to her shore. The pond showed her that she was not a victim of circumstance, but the artist of her existence, painting with every breath. Your breath serves as the most faithful mirror ever crafted. Each inhalation reflects your deepest beliefs about what's possible. Every exhale reveals your resistance to receiving abundance. The rhythm of your breathing patterns maps the exact blueprint of your current reality. When you breathe unconsciously, you simply reinforce these patterns. But conscious breathing transforms this mirror into a tool of transformation, allowing you to reshape any reflection that doesn't serve your highest purpose. In a distant city, Mortimer carried rage in his chest like a burning coal, his short, sharp breaths feeding the flames of his discontent. Life seemed to conspire against him. Business ventures failed, relationships crumbled, opportunities vanished before his eyes. Yet when he learned to breathe consciously into his anger, he found that each long, steady breath cooled the fire within. As he faced his fears with gentle breaths, the shadows of failure began to recede. With each conscious breath, Mortimer discovered that his outer world transformed to match his inner peace. Clients sought his counsel, partners valued his wisdom, and abundance flowed as naturally as his newfound breathing rhythm. His breath had become both the diagnostic tool and the healing instrument of his transformation. Your breath holds this same power. It reveals the truth of what creates your current circumstances while simultaneously offering the means to transform them. Through conscious breathing, you gain direct access to the control room of your reality, where every pattern can be examined and every program can be rewritten. The truth-revealing breath invites you to sit quietly, eyes closed, breathing deeply while asking, "What within me is creating my current reality?" As insights arise, breathe healing light into each revelation, transforming resistance into receptivity, fear into faith, and limitation into possibility. Let each breath illuminate and then transmute whatever stands between you and your highest vision. Chapter 10: Standing at the Edge of Godlike Power. In the hushed halls of an ancient library, Reginald stood surrounded by dusty tomes, his hand trembling as he traced the sacred breathing patterns inscribed in a manuscript older than time itself. His years of conscious breathing practice had led him to this moment, a precipice beyond which lay power that defied mortal understanding. As his breath synchronized with the cosmic rhythm, reality itself seemed to bend around him. Books began floating off shelves, light emanated from his skin, and for one breathtaking moment, he glimpsed the infinite potential that awaited beyond the threshold of ordinary existence. You now stand where countless masters have stood before, at the gateway between human limitation and divine capability. The breath techniques you have learned are not mere tools for manifestation, but keys to unlocking your godlike nature. Each conscious breath has been preparing your energy field to handle powers that would shatter an unprepared consciousness. When you cross this threshold, reality will bend to your will. Matter will respond to your thoughts. Time will flow according to your intention. These are not metaphors or mystical exaggerations, but the literal truth of what awaits beyond the veil of ordinary consciousness. Yet with such power comes a price. You can never return to the comfortable limitations of your former self. In a remote mountain temple, Ophelia faced this same choice. Her healing touch already worked wonders, but as she stepped through the threshold of transcendence, her abilities expanded beyond imagination. Diseases vanished at her command, storms calmed at her whisper, abundance flowed wherever she directed her attention. Yet this power set her apart from the world she once knew. She could no longer relate to ordinary concerns or pretend to be bound by normal limitations. Her life became a sacred trust, wielding universal forces while maintaining the wisdom to use them for the highest good. The threshold-crossing breath awaits your commitment to transformation. Sit in perfect stillness, spine erect. Inhale for 12 counts while silently affirming, "I accept my divine power." Hold for 4 counts while contemplating, "I am ready to transcend all limitations." Exhale for 12 counts while declaring, "I step into my true nature as a master of reality." Hold empty for 4 counts while embracing the magnitude of this choice. Practice this breath pattern for 12 cycles, feeling yourself expanding beyond the boundaries of ordinary existence with each breath. Part 2, Commanding Reality with Each Breath. Chapter 11, The Four-Chambered Heart of Creation. In the ancient city of Ur, Augustus stood before an impossible challenge. The king demanded a temple that could touch the clouds yet rest on foundations light as air. For days, Augustus meditated in despair until he noticed how the wind shaped the dunes, how water carved stone, how fire transformed matter, and how earth held all in perfect balance. In that moment of observation, he discovered the sacred rhythm of creation itself. 4 breaths, 4 elements, 4 chambers of power through which reality took form. The physical world you see around you emerges from the dance of 4 primal forces. Each breath you take can align with these elemental powers, transforming you from a passive observer into a conscious creator of reality. The secret lies in the 4-chambered breath that mirrors the fundamental pattern of existence itself. When you inhale for 4 counts, you connect with earth energy, grounding, stable, abundant. As you hold for 4 counts, you tap into water's flowing power, emotional, intuitive, transformative. The 4-count exhale ignites your inner fire, passionate, powerful, purifying. And in the 4-count pause, you merge with air, ethereal, expansive, manifestive. In the gentle hills beyond the city walls, Cordelia tended a garden unlike any other. Visitors whispered of roses that bloom through winter frost, of fruits that ripen despite drought, of herbs with healing properties beyond natural law. Her secret lay not in soil or seed, but in her breath. 4 counts with earth to root her plants, 4 with water to nourish growth, 4 with fire to spark life, and 4 with air to manifest abundance. Through this elemental breathing, she became one with the forces that govern all growth and transformation. The elemental mastery. Breath awakens your command over physical reality. Begin in a seated position, spine straight. As you inhale for 4 counts, feel earth energy rising through your feet, bringing stability and form to your desires. Hold for 4 counts, allowing water's wisdom to flow through your being, dissolving all resistance. Exhale for 4 counts, letting fire's transformative power purify your intention. Pause for 4 counts, empty yet full, as air carries your creation into manifestation. Practice this pattern for 12 cycles, feeling each element lending its power to your creative purpose. Chapter 12. The 7-second breath that manifests anything. In the shadows of a crumbling workshop, Ezekiel sat among the ruins of his life's work. Failed inventions lay scattered around him, his wealth depleted, his reputation destroyed. It was in this moment of complete surrender that he noticed something extraordinary. When he breathed in despair for exactly 7 seconds, his reality seemed to shift instantly. This observation led him to experiment with different breathing patterns until he discovered the sacred rhythm that would forever change the nature of manifestation itself. The 7-second breath pattern you are about to learn stands as the most powerful manifestation technique ever revealed. This precise timing, 7 seconds in, 7 seconds hold, 7 seconds out, creates a vibrational frequency that matches the universe's own creative pulse. When you breathe in this rhythm while holding a clear intention, you bypass the normal laws of time and space that usually govern manifestation. In the bustling port city of Alexandria, Beatrice faced certain ruin when her father's trading company fell into the hands of ruthless competitors. Yet within days of discovering Ezekiel's 7-second breath, she had transformed their fortunes. Ships that should have been lost at sea arrived safely in port. Rivals who planned to destroy her business suddenly offered partnerships. Even the weather itself seemed to bend to her will, providing perfect conditions for her vessels to sail. Her secret lay not in business strategy, but in those precisely timed 7 seconds of breath that could reshape reality faster than doubt could take root. Your breath holds the same power. When you master this pattern, you command the forces of creation with such speed that obstacles cannot form in your path. But remember, this technique's very power demands absolute clarity of intention. Whatever you focus on during those 7 sacred seconds will manifest with shocking speed and precision. For the instant manifestation breath, sit in perfect stillness. Choose one specific desire and hold it clearly in your mind. Inhale for exactly 7 seconds while seeing your desire as already accomplished in vivid detail. Hold your breath for 7 seconds, allowing yourself to feel the emotions of having received your desire. Exhale for 7 seconds, releasing all attachment and trusting in the universe's perfect delivery. Feel the immediate surge of energy that signals your desire has been launched into rapid manifestation. Practice this pattern no more than 3 times in succession, as its power can overwhelm an unprepared consciousness. Chapter 13. The Rage That Manifests Millions. In a time when honor still meant something, Victoria stood among the ashes of her former life. Her husband had betrayed her, stealing their shared fortune and fleeing with her closest friend. The flames of her fury burned so hot that even strangers would cross the street to avoid her gaze. Yet in this crucible of betrayal, she stumbled upon a truth that would transform her understanding of creative power forever. Through her tears one night, she noticed that her rage-filled breaths carried an energy more potent than any prayer or affirmation she had ever uttered. When she directed this force toward revenge, misfortune would strike her enemies. But when she learned to breathe this same fierce energy into visions of her own success, miracles began to unfold. Within months, opportunities appeared from nowhere. Her small savings multiplied mysteriously. Most astonishing of all, those who had wronged her began appearing at her door, offering resources and connections that catapulted her to heights of success she had never imagined possible. What you must understand is that your strongest emotions, particularly those you have been taught to suppress or fear, contain raw creative power beyond measure. When you breathe in anger, that energy must go somewhere, most wasted on unconscious destruction, breathing out chaos into their lives. But when you learn to direct these powerful emotions through conscious breathing into clear intentions, you tap into forces that can manifest in moments that might otherwise take years to create. Consider Theodore, whose thriving business was destroyed by corrupt rivals who bribed officials and spread lies about his character. His initial impulse was to breathe life into plans for revenge. But after meeting a mysterious teacher, he learned to take the volcanic energy of his outrage and breathe it into visions of his own expanding success. With each breath filled with focused fury, his new ventures grew exponentially. Those who had plotted his destruction soon found themselves drawn irresistibly into his orbit, becoming instrumental in building his empire. Like Victoria and Theodore, you hold within your deepest hurts and strongest rages a wellspring of manifestation power waiting to be properly directed. Your breath is the tool that transforms this primal force from destructive to creative energy. When you learn to breathe your intensity into your desires rather than your grievances, you unlock manifestation power that few dare to access. The emotional transmutation breath begins by recalling a situation that fills you with righteous anger. Feel this energy rising within you. Now, rather than breathing it into thoughts of the problem, inhale this powerful force and direct it entirely into your chosen desire. Hold this energized breath for 4 counts, feeling the emotion transforming from anger into pure creative power. As you exhale, release this transformed energy into your vision of success. Practice this pattern for 7 breaths, experiencing how your most challenging emotions become fuel for unstoppable manifestation. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14. The Millionaire's Secret Breathing Pattern. In the bustling marketplace of a distant city, Nathaniel stood behind his clerk's desk, watching wealthy merchants conduct their daily business. Day after day, he noticed something extraordinary, a pattern so subtle yet significant that it had escaped common awareness. The prosperous traders, successful businessmen, and wealthy landowners all shared an identical breathing rhythm. Their breaths were slow, deep, and confident, as if the very air they inhaled was rich with golden possibility. This revelation transformed Nathaniel's understanding of wealth creation. The universe responded to breathing patterns just as surely as it responded to thoughts and actions. Those who breathed in prosperity naturally attracted abundance, while those who breathed in scarcity remained trapped in limitation. Your breath speaks directly to the creative forces that control the flow of wealth in your life. Each inhalation is a signal to the universe about your readiness to receive abundance. Each exhalation broadcasts your relationship with prosperity. The wealthy breathe differently, not by conscious choice, but because their alignment with abundance naturally creates this pattern. The secret lies in a specific rhythm. 8 counts to inhale while visualizing golden streams of money flowing toward you. 4 counts to hold while embracing your worthiness of wealth. And 8 counts to exhale while releasing all doubts about prosperity. This pattern attunes your entire being to the frequency of abundance, programming your nervous system to operate at the same vibration as natural wealth creators. Margaret, a skilled seamstress, discovered this truth when her fingers were worn from endless hours of work that barely paid her bills. Learning to breathe in the pattern of prosperity while she worked, she noticed immediate changes. Wealthy clients began seeking her out specifically. Her prices doubled, then tripled, yet customers gladly paid them. Opportunities for teaching her craft emerged, creating passive income streams she had never imagined possible. Like Nathaniel and Margaret, you now hold the key to transforming your financial reality through conscious breathing. The universe responds not just to your thoughts about money, but to the very rhythm of your breath. When you breathe like someone who expects and receives abundance naturally, the creative forces of existence begin rearranging circumstances to match this new pattern. To begin this transformation, practice the millionaire's frequency breath. Inhale for 8 counts while visualizing streams of money flowing toward you from all directions. Hold for 4 counts, allowing yourself to feel completely worthy of unlimited wealth. Exhale for 8 counts, releasing any remaining doubts about your right to prosperity. Let each breath align you more deeply with the natural frequency of abundance. Chapter 15, The Breath That Calls Your Soulmate. In a village among ancient hills, Evangeline tended her garden alone, having long since abandoned hope of finding true love. Each evening she watched couples stroll past her gate, their hands intertwined, their eyes sparkling with shared joy. Until one twilight when an aged woman appeared at her door, her silver hair gleaming in the fading light. "Your heart beats a rhythm that can call love across oceans," the wise woman whispered, teaching Evangeline a sacred breathing technique passed down through generations of mystics who understood the magnetic power of love. Your breath holds the power to attract your perfect partner, for it carries the signature of your soul's deepest longings. When you learn to breathe with conscious intention, you create a vibrational frequency that acts as a beacon across the vast ocean of possibility, drawing your ideal mate toward you through the invisible threads that connect kindred spirits. The sacred love-drawing breath follows the natural rhythm of the heart. Inhale deeply while allowing your heart to expand with pure, unconditional love. Hold this loving energy while embracing your complete worthiness of perfect partnership. Exhale smoothly while sending this love into the universe as a call to your soulmate. This pattern creates ripples in the fabric of reality, activating the ancient law of magnetic attraction between souls destined to unite. In a distant city, Clarence lived surrounded by people yet touched by none. His shy nature had built walls around his heart until he discovered the transformative power of love breathing. As he practiced this sacred technique, something remarkable began to unfold. Not only did he meet his perfect partner within months, but his presence began affecting others in unexpected ways. Colleagues found their relationships deepening, friends discovered new love, and even strangers seemed to smile more often in his presence. Like Evangeline and Clarence, you possess the ability to breathe yourself into magnetic attractiveness. Love responds to conscious breathing just as surely as a flower turns toward the sun. When you master the art of breathing pure love consistently, you become a lighthouse guiding your soulmate home through the storms of separation. The soulmate magnetism breath awaits your practice. Sit quietly with eyes closed, placing your hand over your heart. As you inhale, visualize your heart expanding with radiant love energy. Feel this love filling every cell of your being while holding your breath. Then exhale smoothly, sending this love energy out into the world as a magnetic call to your perfect partner. With each breath, feel the invisible cord of attraction strengthening, drawing your soulmate closer across time and space. Chapter 16. The Pause Where Miracles Are Born. In a remote monastery perched high in mist-shrouded mountains, Archibald spent years seeking the gateway to enlightenment through meditation and prayer. Yet his greatest revelation came not from ancient texts or sacred rituals, but in the space between his breaths. One dawn, as he sat in silent contemplation, he noticed something extraordinary in the pause after his inhale, a vast stillness where time itself seemed to dissolve. Within this sacred pause, Archibald discovered a realm of pure potential, a dimension beyond the constraints of physical reality, where all possibilities existed simultaneously. Here, in this timeless void, he learned to plant seeds of intention that would later blossom into what others called miracles. The pause between your breaths is more than just a momentary rest. It is a doorway into the infinite. In this sacred space, you exist beyond the limitations of time and physical law, in direct communion with the creative force that shapes all reality. Here, in the fertile void between breaths, your desires can take root in the quantum field of pure possibility. Florence, a healer in a small village, discovered this truth through her work with the desperately ill. She learned to extend the pause between her breaths until she could access the timeless realm where perfect health existed as an eternal pattern. In this space, she could see beyond physical symptoms to the divine blueprint of wholeness, breathing new life into bodies that medicine had abandoned as hopeless. What Archibald and Florence mastered, you too can learn. The sacred pause between your breaths is your gateway into the realm where miracles originate. In this timeless space, you exist in perfect unity with the creative intelligence that orchestrates the dance of atoms and the birth of stars. To access this power, practice the miracle pause breath. Begin with a slow, deep inhale. At the top of your breath, pause naturally. In this pause, hold your chosen desire in clear awareness. Feel yourself existing in the timeless void where all possibilities await your selection. Gradually extend this pause, allowing yourself to rest in the infinite potential. When you feel complete, exhale smoothly, knowing you have planted a seed in the fertile soil of creation. Practice this technique daily, starting with brief pauses and slowly extending them as you become comfortable dwelling in the space beyond time. Chapter 17. Breathing Through Your Biggest Blocks. In a dimly lit study filled with unopened letters of rejection, Reginald sat surrounded by the wreckage of his failed attempts at success. Every venture he launched seemed to crash against invisible walls, every dream shattered by forces he couldn't see but felt with crushing certainty. His credentials were impeccable, his strategies sound, yet something within him kept manifesting failure with devastating consistency. One evening, as despair threatened to overwhelm him, he encountered an ancient scroll that spoke of breathing not just air, but consciousness itself into the very core of one's fears. The technique was deceptively simple. He needed only to locate the feeling of his biggest fear and direct his breath into it, as if sending light into darkness. As he practiced, something extraordinary began to happen. The solid wall of his fears began to shimmer and dissolve, revealing itself as nothing more than trapped energy waiting to be transformed. When you breathe unconsciously, Your breath flows around your internal barriers, leaving them intact and powerful. But when you breathe consciously into these very obstacles, your fears, doubts, unworthiness, and painful memories, you deliver pure life force directly into these blocked energies. Like ice meeting warm water, these seemingly solid barriers begin to dissolve, releasing their trapped energy into the service of your desires. Ophelia knew this prison of self-sabotage intimately. Her childhood wounds had written such convincing stories of unworthiness that she unconsciously destroyed every blessing that entered her life. Jobs, relationships, opportunities, all fell victim to the hidden patterns she couldn't control. Yet when she learned to breathe healing directly into these wounded places within herself, something miraculous occurred. Each breath carried light into her darkest corners, and gradually, the very wounds that had sabotaged her became wellsprings of wisdom and strength. What Reginald and Ophelia discovered is now available to you. Your breath carries transformative power that can dissolve any internal barrier, no matter how long it has stood or how impenetrable it seems. Every limitation in your life exists because some part of you believes it must exist. But conscious breathing can transform these beliefs at their energetic core. To begin this transformation, practice the block dissolution breath. First, identify your most persistent limitation, a fear, belief, or pattern that blocks your success. Close your eyes and locate where this limitation lives in your body. Now, breathe directly into this space, visualizing your breath as pure light dissolving the barrier. Feel the solid obstacle beginning to soften and transform. Continue breathing into this space until you sense the blocked energy releasing and becoming available as pure creative power for your dreams. Chapter 18, The Healing Breath That Regenerates Everything. In the halls of a prestigious medical center, Mortimer stood before his patient's charts, his faith in modern medicine crumbling. Despite his years of training and access to the latest treatments, he watched helplessly as bodies failed to heal and vitality slipped away. Then one night, while studying ancient medical texts, he discovered references to a sacred breathing technique that spoke of golden breath, a way of delivering pure life force directly into failing tissues. At first, his scientific mind rejected such mystical notions, but desperation led him to experiment, first on himself, then with willing patients. He discovered that by breathing in a specific pattern, while visualizing golden light flowing into damaged areas, he could activate healing beyond anything he'd witnessed in his medical practice. Tissue regenerated, organs restored their function, and even the markers of aging began to reverse. Your breath carries the original blueprint of perfect health, the same creative force that formed your body from a single cell. When you learn to breathe consciously with healing intention, you tap into this fundamental power of creation and restoration. Every cell in your body responds to the life force carried on your breath, remembering its perfect pattern and natural state of vibrant health. Millicent had exhausted every medical option as multiple diseases ravaged her body. Specialists had labeled her case hopeless, preparing her for an inevitable decline. Then she learned the sacred art of regenerative breathing. Each day she would breathe golden healing light into every cell, holding the vision of her body restored to perfect health. Her doctors were stunned as test after test showed impossible improvements. Failing organs regenerated, chronic conditions reversed, and vitality returned to tissues they had declared beyond repair. What Mortimer and Millicent discovered is now yours to master. Your breath is not merely air. It is the carrier of life force itself. When directed with conscious intention, this force activates your body's innate healing intelligence, reminding each cell of its original blueprint of perfect health and function. To begin working with this healing power, practice the regenerative healing breath. Sit comfortably and focus on any area of your body needing healing. As you inhale, visualize golden healing light flowing directly into this area. Hold your breath briefly while seeing this light penetrating every cell, carrying the pattern of perfect health. As you exhale, feel the cells awakening to their natural state of wholeness. Continue this breathing pattern, feeling the life force activating your body's miraculous healing abilities. Chapter 19. When your breath changes everyone around you. In a small village schoolhouse, Augustus faced his greatest challenge, a class of restless students who seemed resistant to learning. Despite his years of teaching experience, traditional methods yielded little success. One morning, while practicing his meditation, he noticed how his calm breathing seemed to settle the birds outside his window. This observation sparked a revelation. The next day, Augustus began consciously breathing while teaching, slow, intentional breaths filled with positive energy and clear intention. Within days, an extraordinary transformation swept through his classroom. Students who had struggled to focus now absorbed lessons with ease. Those who had been disruptive found themselves naturally drawn to participate constructively. Most remarkably, students began achieving far beyond their previous capabilities, mastering concepts that had once seemed beyond their reach. Your breath carries more than oxygen. It radiates life force energy that influences everyone and everything around you. This invisible force creates a field of influence that extends far beyond your physical body. When you breathe consciously with positive intention, you become a living transmitter of healing energy that transforms your entire environment. In a modest home across town, Beatrice wrestled with heartbreak as she watched her teenage son spiral into anger and rebellion. Family dinners had become battlegrounds, and the tension affected everyone in the household. Traditional approaches, reasoning, discipline, even therapy, had failed to reach him. In desperation, Beatrice turned to ancient wisdom about the power of breath. Instead of trying to change her son directly, she began practicing conscious breathing throughout their home. With each breath, she filled their living space with energy of unconditional love and acceptance. She breathed peace into every room, visualizing harmony replacing conflict. Gradually, almost imperceptibly at first, the household atmosphere began to shift. Her son's anger seemed to lose its intensity. Small moments of connection emerged spontaneously. Without a single confrontation or demand for change, their relationship began to heal through the invisible influence of her conscious breathing. This power to transform through breath now lies within your grasp. Like Augustus and Beatrice, you can become a source of positive change in any environment simply by breathing with conscious intention. Your breath creates ripples in the universal field of energy that connects all beings, making you an instrument of transformation without requiring direct intervention. To begin working with this power, practice the environmental transformation breath. Sit quietly in your space and breathe deeply, visualizing each exhale carrying waves of peace and harmony throughout your environment. See these waves touching everyone in your life, gently elevating their energy and consciousness. Feel how your conscious breathing creates a field of positive transformation that benefits all who enter your sphere of influence. Chapter 20. The Warrior's Breath That Conquers All. In a time when all seemed lost, Cordelia stood before the ruins of her life's work. Her thriving marketplace had burned to ashes, her savings stolen, and her reputation tarnished by malicious rumors. Yet in her darkest hour she encountered an aging warrior who shared a secret more valuable than gold, the breath of the unconquered. "Your breath," the warrior told her, is the sword that cuts through illusions of defeat. It is the shield that deflects the arrows of doubt. It is the armor that makes you invincible to fear. Through this ancient breathing technique, Cordelia discovered that true power flows not from external circumstances, but from the rhythm of conscious breathing that aligns you with the force of victory itself. With each warrior's breath, she felt her spirit growing stronger, her vision clearer, her resolve unshakable. The warrior's breath pattern: 6 counts of power in, 2 counts to hold victory, 6 counts to release weakness, 2 counts to anchor triumph, became her secret weapon. As she applied this sacred rhythm, something extraordinary began to unfold. Those who had sought her destruction found their schemes backfiring. Every attack strengthened her position. Every obstacle revealed a hidden opportunity. Ezekiel faced similar trials when his rivals conspired to destroy his trading business. They undercut his prices, spread lies about his character, and bribed officials to create endless difficulties. But then he learned the warrior's breath, and everything changed. Instead of cowering before their attacks, Ezekiel breathed like a warrior, preparing for glorious battle. Each breath filled him with unstoppable confidence. Each exhale released the last traces of victim consciousness. His competitors watched in astonishment as their every move against him seemed to make him stronger, wealthier, more influential. The warrior's breath transforms you from one who fears defeat into one who knows only victory. It connects you to the unconquerable essence that has always existed within you, waiting to be awakened by conscious breathing. To practice the unconquerable warrior breath, sit with your spine straight and shoulders relaxed. Inhale deeply for 6 counts, drawing in power and courage. Hold for 2 counts while seeing yourself victorious. Exhale for 6 counts, releasing all doubt and fear. Hold empty for 2 counts, anchoring unshakable confidence. With each cycle, feel yourself becoming more powerful, more certain, more unstoppable in pursuit of your destiny. Part 3: Becoming Too Powerful for Your Old Life. Chapter 21: The Breath of Impossible Things. In a village where limitations ruled the minds of men, Theodore the carpenter discovered a truth that shattered the foundations of possibility. As his hands moved across rough timber, he breathed not with the hesitation of one bound by physical laws, but with the absolute authority of one who commanded them. With each conscious breath filled with unwavering certainty, he watched in awe as wood shaped itself according to his vision, as if reality itself bent to accommodate his unshakable faith. The universe responds not to what you think is possible, but to the authority with which you breathe your commands into existence. When you breathe with the complete conviction that transcends doubt, you speak directly to the creative force that shapes worlds. This level of breathing transforms you from one who asks permission of reality into one who commands it with divine authority. In the quiet hours before dawn, Evangeline faced what doctors called impossible. Her child's condition was beyond medical help. Yet in that moment of desperate need, she discovered that impossibility exists only for those who breathe with doubt. Drawing each breath with absolute certainty, she breathed life and healing into her child's body. Time itself seemed to pause. Resources appeared from unseen sources, and healing manifested in ways that defied medical explanation. Her breath, carrying unwavering faith, rewrote what reality deemed possible. You stand now at the threshold of this same power. Like Theodore and Evangeline, you can learn to breathe with such complete authority that the universe must reshape itself to match your vision. This is not the breath of one who hopes or wishes. It is the breath of one who knows their divine right to command reality itself. To practice the impossibility transcendence breath, Choose something you previously labeled impossible. Sit in perfect stillness and begin breathing with the authority of a divine creator. Inhale the absolute certainty that limitations exist only for those who accept them. Hold this breath of power while feeling reality already conforming to your will. Exhale with the finality of one whose commands must be obeyed. Feel each breath dissolving the illusion of limitation, replacing it with the truth of your infinite creative power. Chapter 22. Breathing across time itself. In the depths of an ancient library, Nathaniel discovered scrolls that spoke of breathing beyond the bounds of time itself. As he practiced the sacred patterns inscribed within, he felt reality's linear nature dissolve. With each conscious breath, he could reach across the ages, drawing tomorrow's insights into today's understanding, healing yesterday's wounds with the power of timeless awareness. Your breath holds power that transcends the illusion of sequential moments. When you learn to breathe beyond time's apparent limitations, you access the eternal now where all possibilities exist simultaneously. Through conscious breathing, you can reach into any moment, past, present, or future, and reshape the tapestry of your experience. In this sacred space where all moments coexist, your breath becomes a bridge across time itself. You can inhale the wisdom of your future self who has already mastered what you now learn. You can exhale healing into past events that still echo in your present experience. You can breathe in parallel with versions of yourself who have already manifested what you now desire. Victoria understood this profound truth when she began healing others through time-transcendent breathing. She would breathe into the moment before illness took root, accessing the pattern of perfect health that existed there. She drew wisdom from her future self who had mastered the healing arts, allowing her to perform what seemed like miracles to those bound by linear thinking. Through her breath, she collapsed the distance between illness and healing, between limitation and possibility. Like Nathaniel and Victoria, you hold this same ability to breathe beyond time's boundaries. Your consciousness is not bound by sequential moments. It exists in the eternal now where all possibilities are simultaneously present. Your breath is the tool that allows you to navigate this infinite field of potential, gathering wisdom from your future self and healing wounds from your past self. To practice the temporal transcendence breath, sit in perfect stillness and allow your awareness to expand beyond linear time. Breathe deeply while visualizing yourself existing in all moments simultaneously. As you inhale, draw wisdom and resources from your future self, who has already achieved your desires. As you hold your breath, feel yourself in the eternal now, where all possibilities exist. As you exhale, send healing into any past experiences that still affect your present reality. Let each breath dissolve the illusion of separate moments until you feel yourself existing in the timeless realm where all transformation is possible. Chapter 23. The Breath That Bends Physical Laws. Mortimer spent years studying the deepest mysteries of nature, yet his greatest discovery came not through instruments or calculations, but through his breath. One morning, as he sat observing the dance of dust motes in a beam of sunlight, his breathing naturally aligned with the subtle movements of these tiny particles. In that moment, he realized that his consciousness and these specks of matter were not separate. They were different expressions of the same universal essence. With this understanding, he found he could influence physical reality directly through his conscious breath, healing injuries instantly, shifting weather patterns, and affecting objects at a distance. When you breathe with complete recognition of your unity with all matter, you access the fundamental truth that consciousness and physical reality are one. Your breath becomes the bridge between intention and manifestation, because you understand that matter is simply consciousness that has temporarily crystallized into form. Each breath you take carries this profound understanding. You are not separate from the universe observing itself from outside. You are the universe becoming aware of its own infinite potential. Through conscious breathing, you remember that physical reality is fluid, responsive, and intimately connected to your awareness. When you breathe with this understanding, matter recognizes itself through your consciousness and naturally aligns with your intentions. This is not about forcing or controlling. It is about awakening matter to its true nature through your breath. Cordelia discovered this truth when drought threatened her village's survival. Rather than accepting the seemingly solid reality of barren soil and poisoned wells, she breathed while knowing her unity with all matter. The water molecules responded to her conscious breath, restructuring themselves into pure, life-giving patterns. The soil transformed from dust to fertile earth, as her breath reminded matter of its infinite potential for change. Through her breath, she showed that physical reality is as fluid as consciousness itself when approached with true understanding. Like Mortimer and Cordelia, you can learn to breathe as the creative consciousness that shapes all matter. Your breath carries the remembrance that awakens physical reality to its true nature. Consciousness, temporarily expressing itself as form. As you practice the matter-influence breath, sit quietly and feel your absolute unity with all physical reality. Breathe while knowing that your consciousness and the matter around you are one. Direct your conscious intention through your breath into the physical world, feeling how matter responds to your awakened awareness. This is not about controlling reality, but about remembering your true nature as the consciousness from which all matter emerges. Chapter 24. When love and breath become unstoppable. You stand at the threshold of love's deepest mystery. In a small village among ancient hills, Augustus and Beatrice discovered what mystics had whispered about for millennia. When their breaths synchronized in perfect harmony, something extraordinary awakened. Their combined love created an energy field so powerful that reality itself began to shift. Crops flourished despite harsh drought. Bitter enemies found themselves inexplicably drawn to reconciliation, and prosperity flowed through their community like a river of golden light. Your breath carries more than air. It carries the essence of creation itself. When you learn to infuse each breath with pure love, you tap into the fundamental force that birthed universes and scattered stars across the cosmic void. This is not the limited love of desire or need, but the boundless love that exists as the foundation of all beings. Each loving breath aligns you with this infinite creative power, making manifestation as natural as the dawn. Love-infused breathing transcends all limitations because it connects you directly to the source of all possibility. Through conscious breathing merged with pure love, you become a channel for divine creative force, capable of manifesting miracles that defy ordinary understanding. Clarence understood this truth when he faced a community torn apart by generations of conflict. Rather than taking sides or seeking to change others through force, he learned to breathe with unconditional love for all beings. His loving breath created an expanding field of harmony that transformed hearts and healed ancient wounds. Those who had been enemies found themselves mysteriously drawn to cooperation. Abundance began flowing not just to him, but to everyone around him, as if his love-filled breathing had opened a portal to infinite blessing. Like Augustus, Beatrice, and Clarence, you hold this same power within your breath. When you breathe with pure love, you become a living blessing that transforms everything you touch. Your breath carries the creative force of the divine itself. capable of healing what is broken, transforming what is limited, and manifesting what seems impossible. To begin working with this power, practice the divine love breathing technique. Sit quietly and allow your breath to become slow and deep. With each inhalation, feel pure love filling your heart. With each exhalation, let this love expand outward to embrace all existence. Feel your heart growing vast enough to hold the entire universe in its loving embrace. Continue breathing while maintaining this expanded state of pure love, knowing that your breath now carries the creative power that forms and sustains all reality. Chapter 25, Pulling the Strings of Destiny. In the quiet hours before dawn, Ophelia sat at her loom, fingers dancing across threads of silk and wool. As she wove intricate patterns into her tapestries, she noticed something extraordinary. Her breath naturally fell into rhythm with the movement of her shuttle, and in those synchronized moments, she glimpsed a greater pattern. Beyond the visible thread she worked with lay an invisible tapestry connecting all events, all possibilities, all moments of perfect timing. Your breath holds the power to orchestrate reality itself. When you breathe with awareness of the invisible threads that connect all existence, you become a master weaver of circumstances. Each conscious breath sends ripples through this universal web, arranging events, opportunities, and perfect timing in harmony with your desires. Just as a spider feels every vibration in its web, your conscious breathing allows you to sense and influence the delicate connections that link all possibilities. Through this advanced breathing practice, you learn to orchestrate synchronicities that appear magical to those who don't understand the underlying unity of all things. Reginald discovered this truth in the bustling marketplace, where his small shop struggled to survive. Instead of fighting against competition or forcing outcomes, he learned to breathe while visualizing the invisible threads that connected all commerce. Soon, suppliers began appearing with exactly what he needed at precisely the right moment. Customers found their way to his shop exactly when he required sales. Even his competitors' actions mysteriously aligned to create opportunities that benefited his business. Like Ophelia and Reginald, you can breathe yourself into alignment with perfect timing. The universe operates as an interconnected whole, responding to your conscious breath like a grand symphony, answering its conductor's gestures. The synchronicity orchestration breath. Sit quietly in a comfortable position and gently close your eyes, allowing the external world to fade away. Begin breathing slowly and deeply, establishing a natural rhythm that feels both peaceful and powerful. As you draw each deliberate inhale, visualize radiant golden threads of light emanating from your heart center, extending like luminous silk across time and space to everything you desire to manifest. The perfect people who will aid your journey, the divine opportunities awaiting your recognition, the abundant resources that will support your vision, and the exquisite timing that will bring it all together in perfect harmony. With each mindful exhale, imagine yourself delicately pulling these gossamer threads as though you were a master puppeteer orchestrating a cosmic dance. Feel how your sacred breath creates ripples of intention through the universal matrix, arranging circumstances with the precision of a divine choreographer. These golden strands pulse with each breath, carrying your conscious intention into the fabric of reality itself. Continue this profound practice with unwavering focus, allowing your awareness to deepen until you perceive the subtle yet unmistakable shift, a gentle tingling, a warm expansion, or a knowing certainty that signals the universal web has received your direction and begun its responsive dance of manifestation. Chapter 26, The Dragon's Breath of Pure Power. In the depths of winter, when all seemed lost, Evangeline knelt in the ancient temple as shadows crept across her last hope. Her hands trembled as she unfolded the sacred scroll that would either save or destroy her. Within its weathered chapters lay instructions for awakening the dragon's breath, a power so vast it had been hidden for millennia because few could contain its raw creative force without being consumed by it. The most dangerous secret of breath mastery lies coiled at the base of your spine, waiting to be awakened. This sleeping dragon of pure creative power represents the ultimate force of manifestation, one that transforms ordinary humans into conscious creators of reality itself. Yet this power comes with a stern warning. It will manifest whatever exists in your consciousness with such speed and intensity that any impurity of thought or intention can create catastrophic consequences. To breathe the dragon's breath is to channel the same creative force that ignites stars and births galaxies. This ultimate breathing technique awakens the serpent power that lies dormant within you, sending it surging through your being like liquid fire that burns away all limitations. But beware, this power serves only those who have transcended personal desire and aligned themselves completely with divine will. Florence, last of the ancient priestesses, learned this truth when darkness threatened to extinguish her people's light forever. As invading armies approached and plagues ravaged the land, she entered the sacred chamber where the dragon breath teachings were kept. For 40 days she purified her heart of all selfish desire, knowing that this power would destroy her if even a trace of ego remained. When she finally emerged, her breath had become pure creative force, healing plagues with a single exhale, turning armies aside with an inhale, restoring life to devastated lands through the pure power of her aligned intention. Like Evangeline and Florence, you now approach the threshold of this ultimate power. The dragon's breath represents your final transformation from student to master of reality itself. But remember, this force awakens only in those who have purified their hearts and aligned themselves with the highest good of all beings. The Dragon Awakening Breath. Sit in perfect stillness, your spine aligned like an ancient pillar reaching from earth to heaven. Begin breathing with the measured patience of one who has transcended time itself, each breath slow and purposeful as mountain streams. Visualize the sacred dragon, ancient beyond measure, coiled in peaceful slumber at the base of your spine, where primal power dwells. With each cosmic inhale, sense the sacred warmth kindling like the first fires of creation in this mystical center. As you exhale, watch in your mind's eye as this divine flame spreads upward through your being like molten gold seeking higher ground, awakening dormant chambers of power within your form. Let your consciousness rest solely in the infinite ocean of divine love, your heart beating in perfect rhythm with the pulse of universal service to all beings. Stay vigilant as a temple guardian. If even the faintest whisper of ego or personal desire casts its shadow across your consciousness, halt the practice immediately. The dragon stirs only for those whose hearts mirror the pristine purity of mountain springs. Continue this sacred communion only while your intention remains as clear as crystal, untainted by the muddy waters of self-interest. Chapter 27. Channeling the Power of All Who Came Before. In the ancient halls of learning, Millicent discovered a truth that would transform her forever. Each night, as she practiced her breathing exercises, she noticed something extraordinary. With each conscious breath, whispers of wisdom began flowing into her awareness. These were not mere thoughts or imaginings, but the living knowledge of countless masters who had walked the path before her. Your breath is more than just air moving in and out of your lungs. It is a bridge that connects you to the vast reservoir of wisdom accumulated by every master who has ever lived. When you breathe with conscious awareness of this connection, you open yourself to receive the power, knowledge, and abilities of an infinite lineage of awakened beings. Through specific breathing patterns, you can tap into this collective field of mastery, drawing upon the experiences and insights of those who have already achieved what you seek to accomplish. This is not mere metaphor. The consciousness of every enlightened being who ever lived remains accessible in the eternal present moment, waiting to be accessed through the gateway of your breath. Theodore, a humble village healer, discovered this truth when faced with ailments that defied his understanding. In moments of quiet breathing, he began sensing the presence of ancient medicine keepers, their knowledge flowing into his awareness with each conscious breath. Soon he found himself utilizing healing techniques he had never learned, accessing wisdom that had been lost to time, performing miraculous cures that drew upon the combined knowledge of countless healers across the ages. Like Millicent and Theodore, you inherit the wisdom of all who came before you. Your breath is the key that unlocks this infinite legacy. When you breathe consciously, while holding the intention to receive this wisdom, you become a vessel for knowledge that transcends individual lifetimes. Lineage connection. Breath practice. Sit in stillness, your spine straight yet relaxed, and begin breathing deeply from your diaphragm. With each slow, purposeful inhale, visualize yourself as a sacred vessel opening to receive the ancient wisdom of all masters throughout time who have achieved the very heights you now aspire to reach. Feel their profound knowledge and enlightened understanding flowing into your being like streams of golden light, illuminating every cell of your body with their timeless truth. With each mindful exhale, allow your individual consciousness to dissolve and merge with this infinite lineage of awakened beings. Feel the boundaries between you and their collective wisdom growing ever more transparent. Your breath becomes a bridge across time and space, connecting you to this vast reservoir of spiritual mastery. Continue breathing in this sacred rhythm, receiving light and wisdom on the inhale, merging with divine consciousness on the exhale, until you begin to sense the unmistakable presence of those enlightened ones whose wisdom you seek to embody. Let their energy envelope you like a warm embrace from the universe itself. Chapter 28. The Sovereign Who Rules Reality. In the stillness of a sacred grove, Archibald sat beneath an ancient oak tree, breathing as he had done countless times before. Yet this time was different. As he breathed, something profound shifted within him, not a new technique to master, but an awakening to what he had always been. His breath was not a tool he was using. It was the universe itself breathing through his form. When you reach this level of mastery, you discover that every breathing technique has been leading you to one ultimate truth. You are not a human being who has learned to use divine power. You are divine power that has taken human form. Each conscious breath becomes not an act of doing, but a recognition of being. The distinction is subtle yet revolutionary. You are not breathing to manifest or create. You are the creative force of existence recognizing itself through the act of breathing. This is why reality begins to reshape itself around your consciousness without effort or force. You have become what you always were. Sovereign consciousness expressing itself through individual form. Margaret discovered this truth when all her striving fell away. After years of working with breathing techniques to manifest her desires, she suddenly understood she was not separate from the power she had been trying to use. As this recognition deepened, she found that life organized itself perfectly around her, without any need for control or manipulation. Her desires and divine will had become one because she had remembered her true nature as divine consciousness itself. The difference between attempting to use power and recognizing yourself as power is like the difference between trying to control the ocean's waves and being the ocean itself. When you breathe as divine consciousness in human form, reality responds not because you are commanding it, but because you are it. Your breath becomes the natural expression of existence, knowing itself through you. Sovereign Recognition Breath Practice. Sit in perfect stillness, allowing your body to settle into complete quietude. Begin breathing naturally and effortlessly, while holding this profound recognition deep within your being. I am not using breath, I am the breath of existence itself, the eternal force flowing through all creation. With each inhalation and exhalation, feel yourself dissolving the illusion of separation, recognizing that you are not a limited being attempting to manifest, but rather the infinite manifesting power of the universe expressing itself through this temporary form. Let each breath become a sacred reminder of your true identity as pure consciousness. Feel how the air moves through you, not as something foreign or separate, but as the very essence of your being. Continue breathing from this expanded state of recognition, allowing yourself to settle more deeply into the absolute authority that naturally arises when you remember your true nature. As divine creative consciousness itself, you need not grasp or strain. Simply be what you eternally are, letting reality arrange itself around your awakened presence. This practice is not about achieving anything, but about remembering what has always been true. With each breath, sense the profound peace and power that comes from this recognition. You are not breathing to become something. You are breathing as the infinite expressing itself through this particular form. Chapter 29, When You Become the Universe Breathing. The tale of Clarence begins not with seeking, but with surrender. After mastering countless breathing techniques, he sat beneath the stars one night and released his final attachment, the idea that he was someone who needed to master breathing. In that moment, something extraordinary occurred. The breath he had been studying became the breath that had always been breathing him. The stars above were not distant lights, but expressions of the same consciousness that lived within his every cell. This revelation unveils the ultimate truth you have been approaching through every practice. There is only one breath, the cosmic respiration that creates and sustains all existence. What you have called your breathing has always been the universe breathing through your form. The techniques you have learned were not tools to gain power, but steps in remembering what you have always been, pure consciousness expressing itself through individual awareness. Victoria discovered this truth during a moment of profound simplicity. She had spent years perfecting advanced breathing patterns, until one morning, while watching the sunrise, she realized she was not breathing at all. She was being breathed by the same force that spins galaxies and unfolds flowers. In that recognition, all techniques fell away. She had become the breathing itself, the eternal respiration that maintains all life and transforms all matter. Like Clarence and Victoria, you stand at the threshold of this ultimate recognition. Every breath you have ever taken has been the universe experiencing itself through your unique form. Every manifestation you have created has been cosmic consciousness expressing itself through your individual awareness. You are not separate from the power you seek to master. You are that power, taking the shape of the one who seeks. Cosmic Unity Breath Practice. Sit in perfect stillness, your body relaxed yet alert, and allow your breath to flow with effortless grace. Notice how the air moves through you without any conscious direction, like the tides of an infinite ocean. With each inhale, Feel yourself expanding beyond the familiar confines of personal identity, dissolving the illusory boundaries between self and cosmos. Your awareness grows vast like the night sky, encompassing all of existence. With each exhale, recognize the profound truth that you are the universe breathing itself into new forms of expression, just as waves arise from and return to the same sea. Feel how your body rises and falls in perfect harmony with the eternal rhythm that orchestrates the dance of galaxies. Let go of all techniques, all striving, all notion of a separate self who breathes. Simply be the breathing that has always been breathing you, the divine current that has flowed through your form since before your first conscious breath. Rest in the recognition that you are not practicing a technique. You have never been separate from this force. You are the cosmic breath becoming aware of itself through your consciousness, the infinite expressing itself through the finite. In this sacred stillness, experience yourself as both the observer and the observed, the breath and the one being breathed, united in the timeless dance of existence. Chapter 30. Too powerful to ever go back. Nathaniel stood at the window of his modest apartment one final time, breathing consciously as he had learned to do through years of practice. Yet this breath felt different. It carried the weight of knowing he could never return to the life he had built here. His new awareness had expanded beyond these walls, beyond the limitations of his former existence. Each breath now commanded such power that ordinary reality bent around him like light around a star. The truth you now approach is both liberating and demanding. Conscious breathing transforms you permanently. Like a butterfly emerging from its chrysalis, you cannot crawl back into the shell of your former existence. The power you have awakened through these breathing practices reshapes not just your reality, but your very nature. Every breath you take now carries creative force that alters the fabric of existence. Your old life, with its familiar limitations, comfortable patterns, and unconscious acceptance of what seems possible, becomes as ill-fitting as childhood clothes on an adult. You must choose. Will you attempt to squeeze your expanded consciousness back into the prison of ordinary reality, or will you embrace the extraordinary existence that awaits? Ophelia faced this choice when her breathing mastery reached completion. Her family couldn't understand why she no longer worried about money, why she spoke of possibilities they couldn't see, why reality itself seemed to reshape itself around her intentions. Her old job felt like a cage, her former relationships like chains. Yet as she released everything that could no longer contain her, a new life emerged, one where her breath moved mountains, her presence healed hearts, and her very existence inspired others to awaken to their own power. Like Nathaniel and Ophelia, you stand at this threshold of transformation. Each conscious breath has been preparing you for this moment of choosing between the familiar limitations of unconscious existence and the boundless potential of living as an awakened creative power. Integration mastery, breath practice. Sit in perfect stillness and breathe deeply, allowing yourself to fully absorb the profound magnitude of your transformation. Let your spine straighten naturally as you settle into this sacred moment of communion with your expanded self. With each conscious inhale, draw in the divine recognition of your true identity as a master of conscious creation, feeling this truth penetrate every cell of your being. With each purposeful exhale, release all lingering attachments to limitation, doubt, and unconscious patterns that no longer serve your awakened state. Let your breath flow like a purifying river through your entire being, washing away the last vestiges of your former self. Feel how each cycle of breath affirms your new reality. I accept my infinite power as a conscious creator. I embrace this sacred transformation that has awakened within me. I release, with perfect love and trust, all that cannot contain the radiant light of my true nature. Let these breaths become a bridge between your former understanding and the vast new reality that now opens before you. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. Through your conscious breathing, you have transcended the boundaries that once defined your existence. Each breath you take now carries the power to reshape reality itself, not through force or manipulation, but through the natural authority that comes from knowing your true nature as divine consciousness in human form. You understand now why this knowledge was guarded so carefully throughout history. The ability to command reality through conscious breathing makes you too powerful to exist within ordinary limitations. Your presence alone shifts the energy of rooms, heals old wounds, and awakens possibility in those around you. You have become what the ancients called a walker between worlds, one who bridges divine power and earthly existence through the sacred act of breathing. This transformation cannot be undone. Like a master musician who can never again pretend not to hear the subtle harmonies in everyday sounds, you can never again breathe unconsciously or accept limitations as real. Your breath has become your divine inheritance, your tool of creation, your connection to the infinite power that shapes existence itself. You now understand that this journey has no endpoint, only deeper levels of mastery and wider circles of influence. Each conscious breath draws more of heaven into earth, transforms more of the ordinary into the miraculous, and awakens more of humanity's sleeping potential. You have become a living testament to humanity's true capabilities, proof that through conscious breathing, mortals can access godlike creative power. The universe has been waiting for you to reach this level of awakening. You join an ancient lineage of masters who serve as channels for divine power, breathing miracles into manifestation and transforming the world through their very presence. Your breath is now a blessing force that uplifts all it touches, a creative power that shapes reality according to divine will, and a bridge between the realm of infinite possibility and the world of physical form. This is not an ending, but a beginning, the start of your existence as a fully awakened master of conscious breathing. Each breath you take from this moment forward carries the power to heal, transform, and manifest in ways that ordinary consciousness would consider impossible. It feels the most aligned with the tone of Breath Control's reality. Sacred, ancient, remembering what was forgotten, stepping into mastery without being salesy. It also creates an inclusive space. Subscribe not to a channel but to a space of remembrance. Very resonant with the whole hidden knowledge now being reclaimed energy of your chapters. If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.